BYU basketball drops 2 spots. They're out of the top 10 for the first time this season. Why the drop?
The voters are jerks.
Kelly says, well, they looked average against the Utes. Not saying they are average, but I think that's why they dropped.
2 spots? I mean, they went 2-0 last week. Beat a bottom feeder in the Sun Devils and beat a rival.
Tom says, well, they bumped a pair of undefeated teams up over the Cougars. So as a BYU fan, I'm sad, but I'm not mad. We keep winning. We'll do just fine.
I'm furious.
You are not furious. You are playing radio. Come on, dude.
The constant lack of respect.
Uh-huh. You're more with Joshua. Who cares when in March? You agree with Tom. Keep winning. You'll do just fine.
Well, duh. That'll always be the case.
Yeah. Welcome to college basketball.
Welcome to the world.
Keep winning.
Yeah. I think the question is this team a top 10 team? That's the question. Is this a team that should have little trouble sliding into the second weekend? Top 10 teams traditionally are expected to do that.
Be in the final 16.
Right. And then, matchups and who plays and whatnot. But there should be nothing that prevents a top 10 team, barring injury and all things being equal, from getting to the second week. So the voters are saying, no, this team is not a top 10 team. Doesn't mean they can't get there, but that's the question. Not whether they're 9th or 10th or 8th. Is this a top 10 team? That's the legitimate question that reflects the poll. The actual literal standing is debatable, 1 or 2 or 3 spots. I understand that. That's pointless. But to ask yourself and discuss, is this a legitimate top 10 team? That is the overriding issue as I see it, reflecting these rankings.
I believe they are, but it is hard to prove. I think the games that they played in the non-conference and what we've seen from them in the conference going on the road, which isn't easy. Not that Kansas State's great. Obviously, the Utes have their problems. Because top 10, if it's going to come down to the tournament, it's really are you top 16. And if you look at teams 17 through 32, are they going to beat those teams and get to the second weekend? And I think they are.
If you're a top 10 team, the answer should be like 80% yes.
I'm comfortable with saying that now. I mean, I saw them play all those teams, and yeah, I think they'll take them. The one that got them was Connecticut, and they had some other close games, but you have close games in the NCAA tournament too. And Connecticut is another team that I would view as top 10 and not a team that I would think BYU, I don't think any of us think BYU would see UConn until the round of 16 or the round of 8.
Okay.
And that is the only game they have lost.
But that's Connecticut. I want to focus on BYU.
But, Clemson is a kind of team, and you saw them play Clemson, and they beat them. And that's the kind of team you'll run into in the second round that will be standing between somebody in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, and I didn't think that was a phenomenal comeback against Clemson. But
they flirted with danger, so you're like,
Yeah.
And obviously, we'll see more tests. Texas Tech would be in that group. And then obviously we'll get a read because there are other teams that are top 10 teams like Arizona and Iowa State and Houston, and we'll see them play them. So as I sit here right now,
I don't know that I consider them a top 10 team. Loosely.
They could go out in the second round?
Yeah. Their method to win, it's not wide. It's very narrow.
See, and that's the kind of thing that we usually get a really good read on in the second round of league. And in these big leagues now, we don't get to see that anymore. The second time through the conference, I mean, they're always familiar with you. We've had multiple coaches and ex-coaches come on and say, in conference is familiarity. But there's a little bit of change from year to year. Guys get better, players come and go and all that stuff. The second and third time they see you in conference, and they only play 3 opponents twice.
Yeah, but you don't need to see BYU literally. You don't need to play them twice to know the way that they're going to win. That's my point, is that we already know how they're going to have to win. There's no other way. Their bench, they had to bring in a guy at mid-season this semester who is
stepped right into the rotation.
Well, because they desperately needed him.
Yes, 100%.
If they didn't need him, he wouldn't have stepped in. That's how shallow they were, that they had to get him and put him in there because they don't have anybody else.
No doubt. I mean, it's 2 seasons in. I don't think they were as deep as they were perceived, probably not by me, probably by other people too. And then to have the 2 injuries on top of that, so it's really...
Yeah, but that's the injuries sucks for the individuals, but so what? The games go on.
I know. So they had to go to the waiver wire
I don't want to
and the G
hear
League.
that that's an excuse, because if your 7th and 8th guys aren't available, well, then what about your 9th or 10th guys?
Yeah, that's where they aren't good enough.
Well, that's up to them. They got 47 guys on the staff. Go get me a guy 9 and 10 who can play.
Yes. It goes back to what you just said in the last segment. They need their equivalent of the Dodgers. I don't know what they were. I'd have to look at their payroll. 19th, 23rd, and 25th best players making big plays to contribute to winning.
But we act like, because Baker and Pickens went out, well, that they get a pass for not having a bench. No,
I don't think they're going to get it.
And if you remember,
I don't think they're going to get a pass. There's too much money invested.
I've been hearing
in this.
about it.
There's too much money. You think the people who are writing big checks are going to give him a pass? And it's a one-shot deal with DeBonsa. I mean, he's clearly one and done. So,
well, and remember last year they played a 12-man rotation last year. They found options across the roster. So, to PK's point, you got to hope that some of these guys that are deeper on that bench can step up.
Well, it's up to this genius to develop them.
True.
And it's probably going to get back to him, and he's going to say something about it. But a guy walks on water around here, and he's done a phenomenal job. There's no question.
Right.
He's taken the program to places that nobody ever thought they could go.
But they need Ahmed,
in a year and a half.
They need Ahmed to come in midseason to be their 6th man.
Yeah, they don't have They don't have enough. Who's the GM? Who's the associate GM? Who's the assistant to the assistant? They've got so many guys there. They're wearing black or they're wearing gray today. I count them up, and I lose track, and I have to start over again. And why aren't these guys available to play? Well, they're just practice guys. They're just sitting on the bench.
Yeah. After you get past Ahmed, nobody played 10 minutes off the bench. It's the 3-7-9. Just buy a few possessions and get your starters back in there.
Now, if their starting 5 does really well, they're going to be tough to beat, and hopefully for them, that's exactly what happens. But if Saunders is off on his 3s, man, their margin of victory and the pathway to it gets really narrow.
Is it a matter of if or more when you get to the tournament? Thought that he's going to light it up 6 games in a row.
I didn't need to light it up.
Is everybody
just can't be off?
Right. Is everybody, like, the whole group, the whole opponent is like, it's the old Rick Majerus thing. You heard it a million times. Don't let the best player beat you. Load up whatever it takes, wall off, multiple bodies between DeBonsa and the hoop, and then other guys have to make shots. And other guys are largely Saunders and Wright. I mean, Cabe is not there to make shots. Cabe is there to rebound and defend and block shots.
And I don't think Wright is there to shoot a bunch of 3s. That is limiting his effectiveness. He can, but, his ability to get inside is unmatched. They've literally, in my 30 years here, have never had a player like that from the point position. No. Trent Whiting was pretty good. Terrell Day was good.
But not like this.
But, yeah, Wright takes it up another level, which is why they paid big money to take him off Baylor's roster.
So is that, and that goes big to GM payroll stuff, is everybody's got a pool of money. Now, how big the pool is varies school to school, but did they put too big a percentage on getting the top 2 or 3 players and then just spread it out so they have a better, deeper roster?
No, they had to go get those guys, and they did. You don't turn away top talent because this is not football here.
One guy can carry you.
You need top-end talent to get you where you want to go. And they've got top-end talent and very well could get to where they want to go. I mean, you can double and triple DeBonsa all you want. He's still going to get his 20, and he's an excellent and willing passer. That's been the biggest, most pleasant, I don't want to say surprise, because I didn't know whether he could or couldn't.
But it was good to see.
It's pleasant to see him willingly pass the ball if you're open. And it's the MJ thing. If your best player is willing to pass you the ball and wants you to shoot it, that is way more confidence than you can get from any coach, from anybody else on the planet. DeBonsa can improve your confidence because he's willing to give you the ball, because he believes that you can make that shot. And that is something that is so powerful that's really cool to be able to play with a kid like that who could just say, hey, guys, I'm here for 35, 40 games, and I'm out the door, right? And I'm going to get mine, and you all just going to have to deal with it. You didn't bring me here to be a facilitator. You knew what I was about. But yet he still is willing to make the pass. We saw in a number of games, whether it's the lob to Keita, put him in position. That's to me, when I watch basketball, I want to be entertained, obviously. And that's the most entertaining aspect of basketball, is to see the ball moved and being passed, and the open man takes the shot. That's whether it's everybody wants to see the alley-oop dunks. I get all that, and that's fun too. But and those couple of he had a couple of lob passes, I think, to Keita in the Clemson game, kind of a high-low type of thing. And that's where I derive my most enjoyment in watching the game, rather than, the pounding it, backing it down, or coming down 1-on-5, jacking it up. I don't like to see that. That's not as fun. And to watch him pass the ball, but I think for Saunders, he's going to have to be. He doesn't have to be blazing hot, but he can't be ice cold.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And when they get in a tournament, if he is normal, Saunders, then I see them, yes, I definitely see them in the Sweet 16. And I think that's about as far as you can project, because you don't know who you're going to play. You have an idea. You don't know who you're going to play anyway. But you know you're going to play a team you should beat in the first round. And you know you're going to play a team you most likely should beat in the second round. And then it's all, from that point on, it's open. So, yeah, if I'm betting today, yes, they do get to that second weekend. But I'm not being 100% totally shocked if they don't. That's what keeps these guys up at night, is that, man, cold shooting. What are you going to do there? If they have two of the three cold, they're in big trouble.
They are.
Because they don't have anybody to come in with the loss of Baker. And I don't know about Pickens because I never saw him play in BYU's system. Obviously, I saw Baker play,
right,
and I know he can get you 10 to 15 to 16 points easily.
And it's not outrageous, right?
No, but that's even a blow. But, man, there's still no excuses. The season goes on, and then you got to develop that seventh and eighth guy. And so far, they haven't been able to do that to any level of consistency.
And there's still 2 months to do it, and there's still a half dozen games left on the schedule against high-end competition. Half dozen games left against teams. It's pretty easy to project them into the Sweet 16. So that's a lot of opportunities to test guys. And 2 months, that's enough time for guys to improve. And I mean, the NCAA tournament's full of stories of guys who didn't do much all year and then hit a big shot or two.
Sure.
It
I
happens.
appreciate your rosy outlook, but right now I don't see it.
Well, I know. I don't either. I'm just saying there's 2 months left to make it happen. The story doesn't have to stop now.
Right.
I mean, to your point, you've got all these player development guys. So I assume they're all down there still doing one-on-one sessions with guys working on whatever skill the guy's got that he can add to the group, whether it's, whatever.
But it seems that Young is reluctant to tap into them.
Yeah, I think the box score just in the most recent game screamed that. That was a competitive game, competitive road game, and there was only one guy on the bench who was willing to play double-digit minutes.
Now, I will say, I think that he understands the rivalry. It doesn't take much to understand it. Mm-hmm. I think he and them, I could argue, wanted to win this game more than any game on their schedule. And so he really shortened the rotation because he wanted to make sure he did everything in his power to get that. When he talked about how Saunders had never won there, and now is his senior, and this was literally going to be his last chance. So my suspicion, and that's all it is a suspicion, is that we'll see a little bit more of an extended bench in other games. And what do they got? TCU tomorrow? And I think we'll see that because I think they really, really want to win every game. I understand that. But I think even more so get an opportunity. You need to get a leg up on your rival.
I get that, but their rotation wasn't that different against Kansas State. I mean, they played 8 guys in that game, and the 3 guys off the bench combined for 33 minutes. So they played an average of 11. So,
yeah, but they contributed more than they did against Utah.
Well,
they did.
They did.
Watch the game.
Because
both games.
There was so little contributed against Utah.
Right.
Yeah, it's 9 points, 3 boards, 3 assists against K-State. Which goes to your point
way
about...
better than what they got against Utah.
I agree, but it also goes to your point that there is this scenario that's pretty rosy going forward, but it is a scenario where you're not getting much.
Well, the good thing for them
they still won a game by 10.
They don't need much.
Yeah, they won by 10 on the road against K-State. So go on the road in conference, take care of business, win by double digits. There's a little bit of nitpicking going on. But the bar gets raised. It's Texas Tech is coming up on the weekend, right? To me, that's one of the elite half dozen games they got left on their schedule.
Yeah, they're a good team.
Yep. All right, DJ PK coming up next. Mike Fulta joins us. It's a Utah Jazz Ticket Tuesday. We're giving away tickets to see the Jazz and the Timberwolves. Do that right after the break, and then we'll talk to Mike right here on The Zone.